Oh, hello everyone. My name is Parker Pfister. I'm an artist, a teacher, a mentor. I create stories using photography and film as my translators, and these translations spark change in our world. I visualize a new generation where these world experiences, you know, I thought about doing this thing this morning, and now I don't want to do it. I'll do it maybe tomorrow. I had this. Yeah. Things change when you're live, especially when you're in a bear suit and burning up. It is so hot in this thing. I didn't want everybody to know I'm bald, so that's another reason I'm wearing this. So this is all about reading stuff anyway, right? So yesterday, if you tuned in, we read this book that I picked up in a coffee store. It's called Special Problems. And this book was published in 1970. And they talked about the special problems they had in 1970. And we learned a lot. In 1970, they said, and I quote, "The field had grown so gigantic and complex that no one could ever grasp it all." In 1970, holy crap! Isn't that crazy? Think of those people. What are they thinking now, right? So today we're going to read from the chapter "How to Succeed by Breaking the Rules." And while I'm reading this, I would love for some of you to put some comments in here or questions. And I would love to know how you think you break the rules. Like, what is your definition of breaking the rules? Thank you, Heather. This bear suit rocks. Thank you. And it's super hot. I actually have two of these. Yeah, it's a long story, but my brother Joe Photo got me one, this one, and we're Thunder Buddies for life. And he got this for me when he came over. I did a Icelandic workshop 2 years ago, and he brought this for me. And then his girlfriend stole it from me at the end of the trip. And then my other brother, Adam Brophy, got me another one. And then Joe's girlfriend sent it back to me. So all of a sudden I have two. So now I can wear them till they stink and then have a new one ready to go, which is awesome. My lips are not keeping up with the audio, so I can't really look at myself in here because it's freaking me out. Heather says she has a llama one. Well, Heather, then you should probably come to one of the workshops because we all wear these. It is mandatory that we all have onesies, and I'm not kidding. It's kind of fun. Enjoying the bear suit. Sorry you're uncomfortable. Thanks, Candace. Well, yeah, it's part of being the celebrity bear. Wow. Okay, so Special Problems, 1970. Some things that we learned yesterday. Photography teachers should not grope at any cost. And I agree with that. That is just, it's not right. And it literally said that right in here. Yeah. We also had a question come in regarding my creative process, like how I come up with more of the conceptual work that I do. So I answered that in yesterday's post. Well, at least part of it. I just talked about my stories, and the stories being kind of the first thing that I go to and then create off of those, whether it be a dream or whether it be just a word or something I see, something that just like sparks this thing with me. Michael asks, what do you exactly mean by groping? Michael is my new Switzerland friend who is coming to the workshop in Burgundy in 3 weeks. Holy crap, I can't wait to see you, Michael. I don't know what they meant by groping. I think it said photography teachers must grope their way. It's just not right. Michael, don't worry. There will be no groping by me. Now, I cannot speak for the rest of my crew. You know, Zhenya she gets handsy. You got to watch her. You'll meet her. She's Ukrainian. It happens. Anyway, I'm kidding, Z. Kidding. Okay, so, so today, how to succeed by breaking the rules. I have to have my coffee. Am I winking in the right eye? Everything's flipped. I can't understand anything on this. I just heard about groping in the trains of Tokyo. Yeah, well, I can imagine. That's incidental groping. It's not purposeful, I think, there. Awesome. Candace, she has already written in about breaking the rules. I break the rules by saying what I am thinking instead of what others think I should say or want me to say. Okay, let's read that again because it was all like going up at the same time. I break the rules by saying what I am thinking instead of what others think I should say or want me to say. Well, that's part of just being you, Candace. You should always do that anyway. There should be a rule that you should do that. Whew, this thing's getting hot. There should be a rule that you should always do that. So it should be the other way around. That's my thought on that. So yeah. Willa, hey Willa, everybody's on here. This is awesome. Okay, so today we're going to read just a little thing about how to succeed by breaking the rules. Now, keeping in mind that this was written in 1970 makes it a little funny, I think. Here we go. It gets harder and harder to break the rules of picture taking accidentally because so much photographic equipment is being designed to prevent mistakes that might mar the final print. 1970s. The camera equipment was so advanced you couldn't screw up. I wonder if they had portrait mode on those cameras or P for professional. I don't think they had P in 1970. For instance, it is impossible to make double exposures with some of today's cameras. And just a note on that. Hey, Sony. Can we put a double exposure mode on there without creating some app and doing thing like maybe just a little? That would be super sweet. Thanks, Sony, because I love to make double exposures and I love Sony's, but that's kind of that drives me silly crazy that I have to download an app for that. So get on that, will you please? For instance, it's impossible to make double exposures with some of today's cameras. On most, the mechanism that cocks the shutter is constructed to advance the film simultaneously. Now, I started out, my very first wedding I shot in 1984, and if you were around yesterday, I did the math using my age so you know how old I am. In 1984, I was shooting with an RB67 and a Nikkormat. The RB67, I was the king of double, triple, sometimes quadruple exposures. We're going to call them exposures from now on because it was an exposure when my dad and I processed the film and there's like 4 shots on one frame of film because the RB67, when you cock the shutter, it did not advance the film. So you can cock the shutter and shoot, cock the shutter and shoot like I did on the Nikkormat. I knew that, but when you get in a rush and things are happening, like the slicing of the cake with their hands on each other, because that's what we did in 1984. You want to get all those shots. Crazy, yeah. Joe Payne put an Anton quote on here. The first rule of photography there are no rules. That is my rule. No shit. That is the rule, and we live by it for sure. And I know Joe does, so get it. I almost missed the bear, Fred said. Okay, how many megapixels did your camera have in 1970? Well, that's funny. You should ask that, Heather. Much more than today's megapixels. Believe that. because it is true. In 1970, my RB67 had, or no, no, that was 84. I don't think the RB67 was around in 1970. Oh, what was her question? In 1970. Oh, well, still, in 1970, a 4x5 or a 6x6 Hasselblad has more megapixels than today's cameras. So there you go. And it's very true. The film is expandable. You can do whatever you want with the film, especially when it's large like that. It's much larger than today's megapixel cameras. So yeah, little research there and you'll find out some crazy stuff. Okay, let's get back to this book reading because it's turned into a reading of these things over here. And trying to very fast film, which could once be relied on to produce an overall mottling of graininess, is today so formulated that it combines its great sensitivity to light with the freedom from excessive graininess in the final print or transparencies. You can even photograph using a single match or a wee light. If anybody's come to the workshops, they know about the wee lights. Yeah, a single match. Holy crap. In 1970, they were excited about photographing with a single match. And now we photograph in complete darkness. It is an amazing time in photography. Oh, sorry, Heather, you said megapixels. That is true. That is completely different. And I think Michael Schumann's dad used to call him megapixels like on purpose, and it was awesome, or I mean on accident, and it was awesome to hear that. So this is the book we're reading today. If a photographer has reached the stage of wanting to express himself freely, perhaps by seeking, for effect, results that ordinarily are avoided, he must seem frustrated by the improvements photochemists and engineers have labored to produce. 1970. Now today, if they would look at, I don't know, an iPhone even, or even a flip phone with a camera in it, has so much more technology to anti-screw up photos than any of these cameras in 1970. So I think that is pretty funny. Jeff Jones says, hi, Jason. In case you didn't know, the Parker J in my name, while I have always said it stands for genius, it actually stands for Jason. So if any of my family members, and if that's Jeff Jones from Lynchburg, Ohio, master black belt, say hi. Is that really you, Jeff Jones? Because I have not seen your name or your face since I was a kid. Holy crap, it's been a long time. So if that's you, say yes, that's me. And if it's some other Jeff Jones, hi. I don't know. Their success imposes limitations on the mistakes he can make. To thwart him further, that's awesome to say, to thwart him further. I have been thwarted further. Few manuals include instructions on how to achieve other than correct results in photography. Let's discuss that. What are correct results of photography? Is there a correct result for photography? I think no. There is no correct result. It's the result. I don't think there is a perfect exposure. I don't think there is even a correct exposure outside of the exposure you want to make to relay the mood and the feeling of the photograph and what you want it to feel. I don't think there's such a thing as this is the correct light. It may be the correct light to use to get your point across and to get your story to be heard. But outside of that, there is no correct. There are no rules. You can do whatever you want. Joe Payne mentioned, and we talked about Anton yesterday in some of his books up there on the shelf. He's a master of that. There is, like, you look at some of his stuff and they are the most god-awful mistakes, but they make you feel. And that, my friends, is what photography, what art in itself is about. It's about how it makes you feel. It's about not what you see. It's about how it makes you feel and how it makes others feel. And guess what? It makes everybody feel different. Nobody feels the same way about a single photograph. It just goes on and on and on, and everybody can feel a billion different things over one photograph and see and relate to themselves. Like some people see a mirror in an image and really see themselves, and that's a big thing, and that's where it comes from. That's when you know you've hit it. That's when you know you've made an image, when it starts making people feel like it has a purpose. That image has a purpose. It's not just a pretty picture. And you know, when I teach these workshops that I do, that's kind of the big thing. I put an objective. Where is it? Oh, I put an objective together for this next workshop in France, and I think, you know, this carries on from workshop to workshop, but I kind of fine-tuned it a little bit more. But I just have some objectives that I want each of these participants that come to this workshop to walk away with. And there's just 5, and they're pretty simple. And I think from these 5, you can say or be or do anything that you want. Are we still live? I think so. Am I just talking to myself? Nope, there we go. Okay, it's still working. Because it says in broadcast. I'm not very technically advanced, clearly. I wear a bear suit, and I forgot to turn the heat off, and it's super hot in here. Here's the objectives. 1, each person will know that they are creative. This came from a workshop that I did in Iceland, where one of the participants came to me in the kitchen during breakfast and it's like, dude, I don't feel like I'm creative. I'm out here with all these other people and they have all these creative ideas and I literally have nothing. Like I don't have a creative bone in my body. And I was just like, I don't think that's true. And I thought about it for about a minute, and I came up with a concept for teaching him that he is creative. And I marched right out into the breakfast table, and we started this new thing that has led to what makes these workshops tick. And thank you, Ryan Manthe, for stepping up, because I argued with him. I'm like, you're crazy. Your stuff's amazing. It's beautiful. It's so thought-provoking. And you think you're not creative. And I think we all go through that. I think I'm not creative sometimes, while others look, it's like, how do you get so creative? We're all stepping in a different rut, basically. So, here we go. Here we go. Oh, it stopped going. Now I see what's going on. Jeff Jones would love to see you too. It is Jeff Jones. Anyway, before I lose my train of thought. So thank you for that. And it's led to this amazing thing. Each person will know that they are creative. Number 2, each person will find the path of their own why they do what they do, which I think is very key in life. Not just this. Like, many people walk away from these workshops and they're like, it's not, I thought it was going to be a photography workshop, and while it is, and I learned a lot about photography, I learned more about myself and what makes me tick, which is going to make me be a more thought-provoking photographer and be authentic to oneself. Number 3, each person will find their creative translator. And I think everybody has a different translator. Translator meaning how you project your why, how you project your creative process, how you project your story, which is where the workshop begins, is finding your stories and coming up with things that are in here and in here and down here. I'm pointing to my gut, by the way. Because it went off camera. Never mind. Anyway, number 4, each person will walk away knowing what self-inspiration feels like. And that's one thing I try to drive the whole week, is to not look at what other people are doing, whether it be online, in books, whatever, even though all that, like to learn how to self-inspire, I think is the greatest accomplishment of an artist. And that's where you turn. You turn to yourself, your self-experiences, your feeling, your gut mood. And it's like, that's where it comes from, but it comes from a higher place too. It comes through there. And that's where the good stuff comes from. It's like your filter of everything that we're just inundated with in this world. Number 5, each person will understand their own creative process. And the workshop I'm doing in Burgundy, France in 3 weeks is all about process. We are going to study process, your process in and out, not just my process or someone else's. We are going to focus individually on your process. And by the time you leave, you will know how you make things, how you create. You will know your own process, not what you've seen before. I also put a little thing together, like steps on how to, because we're going to cover, of course, photography, but there's going to be a lot more in there. So I just put this together real quick. This will be a workshop covering many genres of art. It will be a photography workshop. It will be a culinary arts workshop. It will be a storytelling and creating workshop. So there's a big difference between storytelling and story creating, which we talk about. This will be an imagination-fueled workshop. This will be your life's workshop. We will focus on making superior images through our own imaginations with lessons on when to settle and when to push further. Because I think that's a big thing. It's like, when do you abandon ship and when do you just keep charging into the storm? When do you know that you have gone far enough with an image or an idea or a series of images, or how far do you go and know when to stop? In your editing, God knows people need to know when to stop editing their images. And by editing, I mean Photoshop or anything like that. It's like, oh my gosh, simpler the better sometimes, most of the time. We just have to know when to stop. It's like, okay, I get my point across. And it's not, you're not relying on technique. You're not showing your technique. Wow. For example, the biggest uncompliment I ever got was, man, your Photoshop skills are amazing after looking at an image during one of my shows, which is kind of funny because the image was made on my 8x10 on paper negative, and it was a straight print and had never even seen a computer. I found that kind of funny. However, to say that is like, that's not who I am. Some people, that's who they are. They want to be really good at Photoshop and want to do other people's Photoshop work and their illustrative artworks. That's fine. But if you are in a place where you want to make images that are soulful and have meaning, and you want them for that purpose, you know your why, you have a clear vision of what that image is all about, and somebody says that, you know that you have failed. Even though I hadn't, because it was on film. He was just dumb. And I hope you're watching this, because I don't care, because I've had coffee. It really is coffee. Everybody yesterday is like, oh, he's drinking in the morning. I'm not at all. Well, there's a little Bailey's in there and a little whiskey, but it's mostly coffee, mostly coffee. We will explore the ideas behind what makes a memorable experience for those who consume our art. Whether it be cooking, painting, photos, or a story, or how you live everyday life. Creating something that they experience once and it sticks with them, sometimes for a lifetime, that's our goal. That's our whole goal as an artist, is to bring this to them. And then I wanted to challenge them to slow down and think about these key elements that I believe make a memorable image, or at least get closer. And I have 1 through 7, just real quick, of ways that we're going to break that down. And breaking it down is having or seeing a story to tell. So whether you created a story that is fiction, or you are seeing a story unfold in front of you and how you want to tell it, that's key. That should be number 1, your first step. Before you pick the camera up, I believe the camera gets in the way of you being a photographer. And then I believe the photographer gets in the way of being the artist, but that's on down the road. Number two, choosing your canvas, knowing whether you're going to create this thing as a conceptual piece for yourself, or you're just grabbing the shot. A simple move this way or that can completely change your canvas. Styling the scene, same thing. If you like adding things, subtracting things, or that simple movement up, down, changing your perspective, changes the whole style of how you see. It changes the style of how the light reacts. Whether you're down here shooting up into the sun or up here shooting down into where the sun is coming from, it changes the whole mood to everything. Posing or unposing, whether you want to pose the person, whether you want to have them in a natural state that you direct, or whether you sit and wait for that perfect moment. Number five, now we can add or subtract light. So now we come to the lighting part. On five, step number five of creating an image, the fifth step is thinking about the light, whether we're going to add it or subtract it. Number six, after you've done all this, you take inventory. You take inventory of everything that you have going on. Notice we're on step 6 and we haven't even thought about a camera. We think nothing about the camera at this point. Take inventory. Step 7, let's think about a lens choice. What kind of lens is going to pull off what we want? What kind of shutter speed? What kind of aperture is going to give that look? Now we can start thinking about the camera, thinking about it. We don't even have to pick it up at this point because we should know what a 35 millimeter focal length looks like. We should know how a 300 millimeter or a 200 millimeter compresses. That's because we've done the work. That's because we know the technical in and outs already. So now we can just design and go and follow our gut or our heart. And then the final step, now we can drop the shutter. Now we can finally pick up the camera and push the clicker. Yeah. Those are the steps for that. Man, I went on a rant this morning. I don't even know what's up with that. Yeah, so let's see. Let's just take a little tiny break here and see what some people are saying. Matthew Turi says, maybe an incorrect photo is one that doesn't make you feel, or make you think, or make you stop. Maybe an incorrect photo is the one that doesn't make you feel, or make you think, or make you stop. Well, incorrect for you. Art is subjective. What you may see as amazing and you see yourself in it, or you see your family in it, or a friend, or you just have an emotional response to that, that's all subjective. The person next to you might be crying while you're looking at it, and it's like, I don't get it. We've all seen movies like that. We've all read books like that. They get rave reviews, and then you go and see it, and it's like, that sucks. Why did I want my 2 hours back? Yeah, so there's that. I thought I'd throw that out. But great thought, Matthew. Fred says he hears me. Barbara says there are not enough workshops that are creative based. I agree, and that's what I teach. Like, I want my workshops to be creative based. That's the root of everything. If you don't have creativity and you have awesome lighting skills or posing skills, you have pretty pictures that mean nothing. They might, your client, I shouldn't say mean nothing. Let me backtrack. They mean something to your clients. And if that's where you are and that's what you want to do, then yes, do that. But if you want to give them a little bit more, put a little of their story and your story in it, and they're going to love you for that. You're going to go to higher places. You're not going to be the person that takes pretty pictures, and you're going to gain a lot more monetary value because you are going to be those pictures are going to be you. You are ingrained in those pictures that you make for your clients. And you can stand there and look them straight in the eye, and whatever price you deem for yourself, for your creative worth, then you're going to charge that, and they're going to hand it over. And it's going to propel you to the next level, and you're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to be like, okay, I'm actually doing it. I'm not a lemming, which I say all the time, which is the you know, anything that just followed, like you see all these TV shows or commercials or books or products that they all just mimic one another at a cheaper price, and there's a lot of that out there. April, April, well, she came to my workshop a while back, and anyone on the fence needs to just do it. Yeah, you should, because she was amazing, and she kicked butt. She found herself. She knows who she is now, and whew, the work is gone. Vincent Scanlon, a wheel with Parker is better than doing the Bourbon Trail. A week with Parker, I think maybe is what that's supposed to say, is better than doing the Bourbon Trail. Well, you get a little bit of both at my workshop, so there you go. Patty says, I've been watching The Crown on Netflix and enjoyed the episode last night where she has her official royal portrait made and then meets a photographer and has her own session done where he talks to her about his process. It's very good example of exactly what you are speaking of. Well, that's awesome, Patty. I'm going to have to watch that. I don't know this show, so I'll have to check it out and check out last night's episode because I want to see that. That sounds intriguing. Thank you, Patty. Can you upload this on YouTube? Vacus, yes, I am uploading these on YouTube starting today, actually. I just figured out how to save these videos. So I saved yesterday's, and I'll save this one and download it. And then, yeah, it's going to be on my YouTube channel, which if you guys don't follow my YouTube channel, that's where all my little weird creative films, slideshows, a lot of images over there. And just Parker Pfister, you'll find me on YouTube. But check that out. Please follow me over there, and you'll see all kinds of strange, cool, amazing things, or not. Art is subjective, isn't it? Okay, so one last thing I want to cover is that I put in the, I don't know where to point, I put in the, above the comments, the description of this thing, I put my email. So if anybody is interested in getting on the list for the 2018 workshop calendar, I will be putting out, we're doing at least 6 workshops this year, and we are doing a little tour around the United States and Europe. So I'm picking cities now on where to go. So if you want in on that list to know where I am going, please shoot me an email. I'll put you in our new database, and from that new database, I will be selecting at each workshop a free seat. So from that database, I'm going to randomly pick a free workshop seat for one of you at each one of my workshops. So that could be a big life change for you. I believe that these workshops are a life change because it's the track record. You know, I look at all these people that have come and all the things they've said and watch them blossom, watch them find themselves. And it's not about technique. It's not about, I walked away with amazing lighting skills. We cover all that, but the one thing they walked away with is knowing who they are and who they are as an artist. And that is one of the most important things that I want to teach. So email me and get on the list. I think I might be done. I don't know. I'm hot, and I really, I have to take this thing off. Look at this. I'm all blotchy. It's hotter and hot in here. I forgot to turn the heat off too. So I'm a little hot. Any more questions? Renee, I know him. Artemis Mott, I can't see your email. What is it so I can contact you? Oh, well, if it's not coming up, it is parkerj@parkerjphoto.com. Or you can follow the trail, and my website's on here, and then you can go to the website, you can contact me that way. But it is parkerj, Parkerj, @parkerjphoto.com. So you can reach me that way. You should do one in the mountains of Canada, Crystal says. Well, I agree. We should do one in the mountains of Canada. Yeah, how about that? Let's do one in the mountains of Canada. What time of year should we do that? Answer me back and we'll talk about it, because I'm kind of open to suggestions. I want to kind of float around this year and do this, and I want to spark people to look in the mirror and see something new, or see something that they've known all along. Yeah. Okay. So I've been working, I'll end it with this. I have been working on my introduction for quite some time. And I think I've finally figured it out. And it's true to what I see and what I feel. And I think an important part of the process and I'm completely always in process. Like, I'm in process every single day of finding a deeper meaning of my existence, finding out a deeper reflection of who I am and what I mean to other people, and my own value. So it's a total process every day for me. And yeah, so my name is Parker Pfister. I'm an artist, a teacher, and a mentor. I create stories using photography and film as my translators. These translations spark change in our world. I visualize a new generation where this world experiences how others see and not what they have seen. I visualize a generation that is authentic. With this vision in mind, I guide artists through their own processes, with the belief that everyone is creative and needs to be heard. I believe that each person has the ability to self-inspire, which breeds this elusive authenticity. Allow me to do that. Allow yourself to give in to that. There it is. I did it. That's my introduction. And that's what I want to do. So, or that's what I'm doing. Yeah, the whole change in terminology, this is what I want to do, and this is what I am doing, create massive change in what you do, what you actually achieve. The wishing and wanting is bullshit. Let go of that and say, I'm doing it. I'm doing this. I'm doing a Facebook Live in a bear suit, reading a book I found in a coffee shop. I'm doing it. The smart guy in me is like, that's an idiotic thing to do. Who is going to tune into that? Who would watch me, dear? Who would watch me in a bear suit read a book? Well, here we are, and we're doing it. So you got to be just stupid enough to do this. Okay. Athens, Georgia. Well, that's a little too close to home, because I do them up here in Asheville. You should come up and see me. It's just up the hill, Heather. Okay, so y'all have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram, Parker J. Pfister, P-F-I-S-T-E-R. P is in ammonia, F is in Frank, I-S-T-E-R. Follow me on YouTube, Parker Pfister, and get that email to me, and I will put you in the database for a free seat at one of my mini workshops in 2018, 2019. And that is parkerj@parkerjphoto.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. What will we do? I don't know. I'm going to find another chapter in that book, and we're going to read some of that and giggle a little bit, and then we're going to talk about process and maybe guitars. I don't know. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.